So, what keeps go to market leaders up at night? We're going to explore the top 5 challenges in this episode of Closing Time. Hi, everyone. My name is Chip House. I am CMO here at Insightly, and I'm super excited today, honestly, to have Sangram Vajre join us on this episode. And so, Sangram is somebody I've known for a long time. He's written a couple of different books, 3 different books, account-based marketing, ABM is B2B, and then Move in the past 24 months anyway. And he's CEO and co-founder of GTM Partners, and I couldn't be more excited to have him with us today. Sangram.
Yeah, Chip, excited for you, man. It's been a while. We have been trying to get this thing together. And what a topic, right? It's the go-to-market is everybody's talking about go-to-market. And at the same time, you ask 5 different people, how do you define go-to-market? You will get 10 different answers. So it is ridiculous how much topic is talked about and how much misinformation is. So hopefully we can clarify something.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to dig into it for sure. And so, hey, the thing I missed from your bio is you founded a little company called Terminus, right?
Yes.
And this is something I was curious about, Sangram, because one of the ways you launched that is by building out and launching these flip the funnel events,
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you about that a little bit, because when I think through the tactics that marketers are taking today with their go-to-market teams to build a brand and create interest, I mean, that is a critical piece of go-to-market these days. But you were sort of, I don't know what, just like way ahead of the rest of us when you founded this stuff back in 2015. So just give me a little bit of the kernel of the idea, and then we'll dig in.
Yeah, sure thing. When we were as a co-founder of Terminus, and we are like, all right, you know what? We are arrived. So we're going to do this event called Terminus event, and we're going to talk about account-based marketing. And I reached out to 5 different people, like 5 different sponsors that I thought they would sponsor the event. And guess what? Everybody said, I'm not interested. Why would I sponsor an event by even if you're not a competitor, why would I sponsor your event? It makes no sense. And then I was on a flight to San Francisco for a Martech event, and I was flying back, and I drew this flip my funnel idea. Like, what if the funnels were flipped? And I wrote a blog about it on LinkedIn, and this was 2015, and 5 people liked it, which meant it went viral, because that's what the goal was in like 2015. You get 5 and it's awesome. And people said, oh, that's cool. And then literally a month later, I sent the same five companies the email saying that, hey, I'm putting an event called Flip My Funnel. I bought that domain for $8, and it's all about challenging the status quo of sales and marketing. You get to be one of the keynotes for it. You can have a booth if you want. As long as we're not selling and we're just helping people understand how to do better with sales and marketing, we're cool. Let's do it. Every one of them, Chip, every one of them said, of course we're in. As if a month or like, it's like I would have done the same exact thing, but just the message that it was about a community, it was about a problem, it was not about Terminus, it was about a movement, really brought in the competitors, even not only the sponsors, but even competitors, Engage Your Demand Base, they all sponsored this event. And that just became a thing we did for the whole year.
Yeah, well, if lightning could strike twice, it seems like it is a little bit with GTM Partners, right? Because you're kind of harnessing some of the same energy that exists out in the marketplace around go to market, especially in the B2B SaaS space. And people are struggling with it. They're wondering what to do next. They're overspending as on lead capture, and they're underspending on brand and messaging and demand creation and things like that. And so anyway, I'm going to ask you here, Sangram, like, why did you do the survey that came up with the 15 challenges for go to market? But to me, it's kind of self-evident, right? Because there's all of this energy from people kind of banging their heads against the wall. But we're going to drill into the top 5 things today. I know that 15 things kind of emerged as challenges from your survey, but talk to me at least initially about the survey itself and why you decided to do it.
So when we did the book Move, go to market, 4-question go to market framework, the most common question we got, Chip, was that, okay, this is great. It's very easy. Move, market operations, velocity, expansion, makes sense. We know what questions to ask. for it. But the problem still existed, that people thought that, oh, marketing should fix the market issue, sales should go fix the velocity issue. Oh, we need to just have a RevOps person and then all problems will be solved. And so everybody was still pointing fingers. And we're like, no, no, no. You guys didn't get it. You guys didn't really get, or we did a poor job of this, literally, where it's not that a marketing problem or a sales problem or a CS problem or a product problem. What you have is a go-to-market problem. These are go-to-market problems. And my hope, and anybody listening to this, is that if they can go to the next meeting and as soon as somebody says, oh, we need more leads, marketing, go get more leads, that's it. That essentially undervalues the whole problem that you may have as a company. You may be really trying to solve a symptom, whereas the problem is somewhere else. So we started to really ask, like, what is the real core problem? And what it came back to after thousands of survey results was these 15 very clear, specific problems. And everybody, marketing, sales, customer success, product, rev up, everybody can help solve those problems. Because here's the big idea, and you know this, Chip. If you as a CMO could change sales compensation, you would do it in a heartbeat, right? To get them to do the right thing. If a salesperson could change a marketing team's compensation, they would do it in a heartbeat to get them to do the right thing. The thing is, only the CEO can do it. Departments can't solve go-to-market problem individually. They only can solve that as a team. So when you look at these problems as a go-to-market problem, really what you're saying is, let's come in as a team and solve this together, not point fingers, because sometimes a marketing problem could look on the surface, but it could be solved with a new product-led growth or a new model, and that could solve the marketing problem. So you may think it's a marketing problem, but if you ask them to solve, they can't solve. They will just create another piece of content, and that's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like, everybody trying to figure out the elephant, right? And so if you had asked me 6 months ago, I would have said, well, if I have to pick a person, it's marketing that owns go to market. But do I own it on my own? Absolutely not. And it seems like your survey kind of bared that out as well, as most people answered, hey, the CMO owns it. And I don't know
Yeah.
if that was CMOs always answering that way, but anyway, so there was interesting commonality, it sounds like, Sangram, in the problems that emerge. We're going to drill into the top five. So the first one I want to talk about is just the inability of go-to-market teams to forecast, one or two quarters into the future. So what's the reason for that?
Yeah, well, and that is 45%. 45% of the folks said that that's one of their top reasons why their go to market is failing. And we all know last year to this year, market has shifted quite a bit. This was a survey we did towards the end of last, like November, December. So this is talking about how does Q1 and Q2 of 2023 looks. And we all are facing right now where everybody is saying, well, I thought these deals were there, but I think they're gone. The all of a sudden the decision maker is the CFO. People are looking to consolidate, not have more deals in the process. So everybody's feeling that, and it has gone from 27% to 45% in the last year. So as an analyst firm, we're looking at this data, and what comes down to is what people are really struggling with is not that people don't want to buy. They're trying to make a wrong. They're afraid of making a wrong decision at this point. They're asked to use less money to do something, and they're like, well, I don't want to try one new thing. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But the problem with that approach is obvious. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get similar results with a smaller budget. Right now is the best time to try new things, because that's where you will find a better, maybe a different ROI of some of those things. And most companies, Chip, they're too afraid to make decisions. They're too afraid to move on and try a new go-to-market motion because they feel like, well, I don't want to risk it.
Much has been talked about sales and marketing alignment, but more specifically, the full go-to-market effort, right? Sales, marketing, customer success, ops, rev ops, the CEO, right? I mean, there's a multi-headed beast that's
Yeah.
part of that equation, right? And so talk to me about that, and what did the research tell you? Why do you think it's a common problem?
Yeah, so there are three things happening at the same time, and I hope people can take notes of it or go back and listen, because this is the research we have found, and we have been helping a lot of CEOs and CMOs right now, helping understand that there are three big shifts that have happened, and that's what's causing this. Number one, your go-to-market team is no longer sales and marketing. Exactly what you just said. It has to bring in product and customer success and rev ops in the conversation. So if today, in anybody listening to this, if you are having a weekly meeting on go to market and it only includes sales and marketing, you're missing out. You're missing out the opportunity to win better, faster, and more efficiently. So make the go to market team meetings more specific, more than sales and marketing. Number two, the metrics have changed. We all grew up with sales and marketing as the key metric is revenue and pipeline. As long as you have enough pipeline, as long as you have enough revenue, top line revenue, it's good. You're doing good. Growth at all costs. Now we are all asked to, no, growth at all costs is different. We need efficient growth. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that your metrics have changed. Well, which metric? It's NRR, net revenue retention metric has changed. All of a sudden, every CMO out there that I'm talking to right now, every CEO right now, even Yamini Rangan, the CEO of HubSpot, on my podcast, I literally asked her, what is the one metric that you care about more than anything? She's a CEO of a publicly traded company, a SaaS business, over 100,000, multi-billion dollar in market cap. And she said, the number one thing I care about is NRR. Now you got to think about, if I ask that question, we do the road shows, and I would ask that question in that room, how many of you focus on NRR today? Everybody's raising their hand. How about 2 years ago? Like one person. How about 5 years ago? None. So metrics have changed. We're no longer just focused on revenue. So that's two. And number three, there are more than one go-to-market motions. All of a sudden, because through 2020, events have changed. We're not having as many big physical events. So what do? Webinars, people are burnt out on webinars. They're like, I don't need another webinar. I want to figure out how to solve my problems. And so a combination that the teams have changed, the metrics have changed, and the motions for go-to-market have changed has caused this flux on 45. And the companies that are not adapting to those three things are the one who are stuck in whatever thing they're doing right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. NRR has kind of emerged as a super important metric for a lot of companies. I think there were companies that thought about it years and years ago. Even at Exact Target, we cared a lot about retention, right? And I remember staring at spreadsheets of retention rates by booking bands for our customers years ago. But I mean, if you're over 100%, your company's going to get bigger on its own, right? Rather than getting smaller on its own. And that's why it's so powerful. So the second thing that I think kind of emerged, I guess this is the third thing that I'm now asking you. The third thing that emerged from the research, Sangram, is companies relying on heroic sales players, right, versus actual sales plays. Can you talk to me more about that?
Yeah, this is hard because I love sales so much, and I feel, especially in B2B, part of marketing's job is to help drive sales velocity, sales activation, sales value prop, move them forward. It is so important. It's so important to do that. And what's happening, and it's consistently happening, and that's, again, the numbers are staggering. It's 40% of the survey that we did. 40% of go-to-market leaders said that the business is relying on heroic sales players as opposed to plays, which means all of a sudden the playbooks are not working. That's what it's telling us. It's telling us that whatever playbook that you guys were using last year or year before, or last 2 quarters, it's not working. And people are feeling that, well, we got to try different things. So as an example, we say this all the time. Now is the time to go out and do these intimate events or conversation. I've never lost a dealership as part of my time at Salesforce, at Terminus. I've never lost a 6-figure deal when I've not met the CEO or the buying committee in person, physically. I've just never lost it. And we would do a dinner. I would fly for that one meeting, because that meeting is with that entire team in their office, and then grab a dinner with some people and go, so that we understand what the problem is. They see eye to eye that we really truly care, and then follow up and solve those issues for them because I was there in person. I've never missed that. Now people have to get out of those Zoom boxes and start doing that. Like, there is no Excel spreadsheet for recession-proof marketing and sales. There is no Excel spreadsheet for it. We have to get out of our own way and do that. So the fact that we're reading, the fact that people are saying that the plays are not working is really, really hard. And I think people have to test new things in order to see what are the new plays in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think every marketing and sales leader is wondering, how can I take that best sales rep that we have and multiply it times 20, right?
Yeah,
And
doesn't work.
yeah, so I can understand why that emerges. And in the current environment, what was working 5 years ago, 10 years ago is not going to work, right? It's just like a very different environment. And so kind of thinking about those economic headwinds, I mean, one of the things that's going to be critical in the next 24, 36 months, you already hit on it with NRR, but it's keeping your customers, right? And being able to demonstrate an ROI to drive those renewals. And that emerged as a common theme from the research as well. Can you talk more about ROI and why that's a critical piece for renewals?
Totally. I was actually shocked about this, that this wasn't higher on the research that we did. About 27% of the folks said that, hey, our customers love us, but when it's time to show ROI, that's when that's why they churn. Which means, you've ever heard this, Chip, and I'm sure you have, and I've heard this one, where somebody says, "Oh, I love you," and you know there's a but coming, right? Like, you just know that, that's like a dagger in my chest, right? Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and what really happened was, they loved the salesperson, they loved the product thing, they loved maybe even the brand a little bit, and they loved it. But no way the company was able to, or the person wasn't able to show ROI upstream. So as soon as the CFO and the CEO and all of these people are asking, like, hey, we need to cut budget. Well, I love these guys, but now I have to just focus on the one that actually I can clearly show ROI from. So we're asking every company to not take this lightly. We think it is a very small, 27% is a very small. I think it's more than that. People may not be recognizing that. I think it's upwards of 40 or 45%. If your product is not clearly showing an ROI upstream, or not making that person's job easier or faster, that product is going to just get cleanly taken away from the tech stack. It's just going to happen in the next couple of quarters. So find ways to create some sort of ROI study, some sort of ROI calculator, some way of showing ROI that is real, and help them ahead of time before the renewals come up, 6 months prior to that actually, and start talking about, hey, how are you going to show ROI for a product 6 months from now? Start having those conversations today. What's about to happen 6 months from now?
That's great advice. I mean, you think about the shared effort that is go to market. That a big piece of that clearly falls on the CS team, probably, right? I mean, the customer success team helping all year long and support the customer, helping them get value out of the platform. And now they have to kind of demonstrate, hey, here's what we did. Here's why the next 12, 24 months even look brighter for you because of what we've built together. Hey, let's get to the fifth and final one that we can cover today, which is, go-to-market teams often are not as proactive as we want them to be. We want them to be as proactive as possible and kind of seeing the future, seeing, kind of predicting what might cause problems in the future. So why do you think this emerged as one of the top things?
Yeah, this was again in the same, about 25% of the go to market leaders said that as an issue. And I think there are two factors that as we dig deeper on it. One, as everybody's working on remotely, as much as we love it and hate it at the same time, it has caused a ton of meetings, and it has caused less relational conversation. And every meeting is I look at it like every meeting is an agenda. Like every meeting has an agenda. And you think, oh, that's a good thing. Everybody should have an agenda. This meeting, Chip, I canceled all the meetings. Literally, I canceled every single meeting for our team, and we had more riffs. Like, hey, if you want to talk about something, just ping each other and get on a call. We had more riffs. And today, literally right before this one, we felt like, oh, this was a great week. We actually got stuff done, and I worked on the things I wanted to work. So we have to challenge our own status quo. So one of that is because team feels like they're just overdone with meetings. And so all you're doing in those meetings are reacting, and you're not proactively taking the time to think about anything. You're just doing, you're in doer mode. So that's one part of it. The other part of it, because the economic changes have happened so big, so massively, all of a sudden everybody's asking for a new strategy every single week. We're just advising a ton of CEOs, and one CEO, CMO, said like, "Man, last board meeting, they said go and do PLG, so we started to go and do PLG. So board is dictating this, right? Like this is like nobody's asking. The board is like, I hear about PLG, like we're not doing PLG, right? So you see those conversations. So the team is actively working on PLG reactively, right? Reactively, not proactively. And then this one, like, hey, PLG is crap. Like, the other board meter, they changed the person on the board. So now the other board member said, no, I've been on board with PLG. It's not going to work for your industry. Don't do it. So they just spend a 3-month cycle from one board meeting to another board meeting to do something that wasn't even on their list of things to do, and all reactive, and now they're behind on everything. So we have to learn to figure out how do we take mental space out, give people time, ask people to think, the art of thinking again. And I think that is playing into this whole 27% why team feels so reactive, not proactive.
Yeah, great stuff. We as leaders, we have a big piece of that, right, Sangram? We have to have our own strategy that has a view to the future and can't be reactive ourselves. I think so many leaders are like looking at the latest thing and squirrel,
Yeah.
and that can create a problem for our teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what everybody's hurting right now. So I'm glad we're chatting about it. I hope people actually take some of these nuggets and cancel all the meetings for a day, or maybe just a day. Start there and see what happens.
Yeah, great stuff, Sangram. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll hope to have you back.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, Chip. This was a great conversation. Thank you for jumping in with me.
Yeah, thanks a ton. And thanks to all of you for joining today. And we'll see you next time on Closing Time.